Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. So I've had quite a few requests for this figure specifically to be reviewed here on the channel, so I figured why not get it up here finally. This is the Safari LTD Dilophosaurus. This one is definitely an older figure from Safari LTD. I don't recall offhand what the year was. This Dilophosaurus figure, as far as the sculpt goes, I think is really nicely done, and actually always kind of reminded me of Jurassic Park. In the scene where Nedry encounters his Dilophosaurus friend, you can see the Dilophosaurus jump down. It lands in kind of a crouched position that for some reason always reminded me of the sculpt that we see here, and the way this Dilophosaurus is kind of portrayed in like a somewhat crouched position. So I really feel like the similarities between that and this are very close, and I've always kind of wanted to repaint one of these to look like the Jurassic Park Dilophosaurus, but I just haven't gotten that far yet. Maybe one of these days, but regardless, let's go ahead and get a closer look at this very cool Dilophosaurus figure right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of the Dilophosaurus, unfortunately you can probably tell right away mine has some paint that's been scuffed off right there, so I do actually want to rebuy this at some point. I mean, I could always just touch it up, but I haven't done that yet. I kind of want to rebuy this at some point, get one that's in a little bit better shape, and then repaint this one. But I have not done that quite yet. But you can see up here, as far as the head sculpt goes, that it is actually really quite nicely done, and there is lots of beautiful detailing to be found up in the head sculpt. Really nice sculpt and detail there in the palette, and it's been kind of painted with like a light gray, like dry brushed over. Similar to what you see in a few different areas up here on the head sculpt. You can see the eye is incredibly small. The detail around the eye is really nicely done, but the eye itself is painted with a yellow and a black pupil and appears to be painted really nicely, impressively well done for the size of that eye. That is really incredible work right there. You can see the crest of the Dilophosaurus is also painted quite nicely with like a light maroon type of a color up there, giving the Dilophosaurus a bit of flashiness, but otherwise it's a fairly dull looking color scheme. It's all dark, and I actually quite like it. But I mean by dull, it's not very flashy looking or anything, but I feel like they did a good job overall on the paintwork of the figure. You can see the head itself is brown primarily. You have a little bit of a lighter brown here for the lower jaw as well. You can see some pink there, the inside of the mouth with that skin flap, and you can see the teeth are pretty nicely sculpted. You also have that hook in the jaw like we have associated with Dilophosaurus, but you can see that the teeth themselves are a little bit sloppily painted, especially on the lower jaw of mine. The paint has kind of run down onto the jaw quite a bit there, but if we come around to the other side, you can see that it's pretty much the same way the whole way through, as far as the paint just maybe being a little bit too thick and too much, I would say, that was applied to the face, and it's run down, well, to the teeth, not the face, but it's run down now onto the jaw and everything, and you can see it's just a little bit sloppily done. You can also see a little bit of that pinkish coloration over here as far as that skin flap on the inside of the mouth. But once again, the eye is incredibly well painted over here on this side as well. I really do like the sculpt of the Dilophosaurus' head. I really think that Safari LTD did a great job there. As we move back into the neck, you can see the spinal column that runs along the dinosaur right there, kind of the musculature a little bit of the neck as well. We've got the throat nicely sculpted out there, and the skin texture, the skin detail is also really beautifully done. As we lead down here into the body, you've got a really nicely sculpted out shoulder blade. Beautiful little Dilophosaurus hands right here, although one appears to be pronated and one isn't. I don't know why that is the case. That's very strange. Very strange on the part of Safari LTD. But you can see that the actual skin detail overall looks really good, especially right there in the shoulder blade. And the hands, as far as the fingers and everything go, have a nice scoot-like appearance down the fingers. Nicely painted nails with a blackish coloration as well. You can even see some really nice sculpt and detail here in the chest. A little bit of the musculature there of the chest nicely defined as well. You've got the rib cage there, slightly present in the stomach region. And you can see that primarily the dinosaur is painted with like a really dark gray, and then you have a nice light dry brushing of some light grays here and there to bring that detail out really nicely. And I think the paint scheme they've gone with, although very dark, is really nice, really natural looking for sure. You can see the spinal column continue to run the length of the back area, and you can also see the hip bone really nicely sculpted out there. Beautiful skin texture as we move down into the thigh. Quite a few little skin wrinkles going on there. Really nice scaling all over the thigh area of the Dilophosaurus. You do have the knees present and sculpted out up there. You've got some nicely defined calf muscles as well as we move down into the foot. The foot looks pretty nice, nicely painted nails. Again, a scoot-like appearance down the toes, similar to what we had seen up there on the hands. You do also have the dew claws back here. As we come out the length of the tail, you have some nice skin detail as we move out the tail, a few creases right there, and we lead out this very nice tail that goes pretty much straight out, and it has a little bit of a nice curve there as well to it. The body, for the most part, is in almost a neutral position. Again, it looks like it's a very attentive type of a posture that the dinosaur is in, like it's rearing up a little bit, very curious about something. Again, somewhat similar to the Jurassic Park Dilophosaurus, I feel. I don't know why, I just really get that feeling with the figure. But you can see that the sculpt and detail on this side is really nicely done as well. Beautiful skin folding going on right there in the stomach region. You can once again make out the rib cage a little bit there. Beautiful shoulder blade and hip bone defined throughout the skin. Really, really nice detailing all over, and beautiful dry brushing again on this side with that light gray. So they brought the detail out quite nicely, and I do like the tones of color with this dark gray, almost a black up here on the upper side of the animal, and then we get down here and it's like a light brown, and it's all really, really nicely applied. The detail on the underside is actually really, really beautiful as well, but the paint application is very naturally, very nicely applied. It looks very realistic as far as I'm concerned, and I think that overall it's a really nice, really appealing Dilophosaurus figure. As far as a size goes, from the tip of the snout to the tail, you are looking at about 7 inches, roughly, or about 18 centimeters, somewhere in that range. And then if we stand it up nice and tall, we've got it about 4 inches, roughly, or about 10 centimeters for a height. And you can see that the Dilophosaurus can balance quite nicely on its feet. Even though it's kind of in an upward position with the way that the body is positioned, it's not a tripod pose or anything. The tail is still up off the ground. It's just kind of making the Dilophosaurus look like it's somewhat curious, I guess. As far as the size comparison goes, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Dilophosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Jurassic World toy line from Mattel. And you can definitely see next to these figures here that the Dilophosaurus is quite small. Definitely one of the smaller Safari LTD figures, just like their newer one, which actually is even smaller than this one. It's definitely on the small side, but really beautifully sculpted for its size. So this Safari LTD Dilophosaurus has always been one of my favorite Safari LTD figures. I really do like it. I think, again, with the similarities sort of resembling the way that the Dilophosaurus in Jurassic Park jumps down just that one exact moment where it lands and then hops away, it really gives me the feeling of this posture, this pose, exactly how this Dilophosaurus looks is almost exactly how I feel like it looked at that moment in the film. So I've always kind of liked it as far as that Jurassic Park feel, but you can clearly tell that the sculpt itself is not very Jurassic Parkish. The head sculpt and everything specifically is not at all what you see on the Jurassic Park Dilophosaurus. This one does in fact actually have like the hooked jaw and everything, and you don't really see that as elaborated or as visible on the actual Jurassic Park style Dilophosaurus, but even still, I feel like it has a somewhat similar appearance. Of course, we don't have the frill around the neck, thankfully, because that is not something that we believe Dilophosaurus actually had, but I feel like the sculpt, again, is really nicely done, nice detailing and sculpt throughout, really beautifully brought out in certain areas with a nice gray dry brushing, a nice light gray. So the sculpt looks great. The paintwork looks pretty nice, except for the teeth. The teeth area is quite sloppily painted, but other than that area, I feel like the paintwork on this is really nicely done. Beautiful dark tones of color for the Dilophosaurus for the most part, and I think it looks very nice on the figure, really realistic for sure. It's nothing overly flashy, overly bright. Honestly, something that you could have potentially seen a dinosaur like this being as far as the color scheme goes, and it's all really nicely applied, very beautifully and naturally applied, so the paint looks as legit as I think you could expect it to, and really nice tones of color on the body, but the teeth, again, are really sloppily painted, so I feel like the teeth alone being so sloppy kind of take away from the figure quite a bit, honestly. It's just really makes the entire face kind of look sloppy because of the way the teeth appear. But if you can get past the teeth, then it's not really too much of an issue, because otherwise I think the paintwork looks great on the figure. So this is a really nice Safari LTD Dilophosaurus, beautifully sized, something that you shouldn't have any problems fitting into your collection if you are in fact overflowing with dinosaurs, because it's again a pretty small figure, jam-packed with beautiful sculpt and paint applications. So if you would like to pick this up, I will include a link in the description for you to do just that. So make sure you head down to the description or head to your local Michaels, as I know they do usually have them there. But pick this Dilophosaurus up one way or another, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.